Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel for another installment in our new figure showcase series, where we take a look at a recent release that I'm adding into the collection and do a little bit of a review and an unboxing and kind of a posing session. And first of all, this is the first review of 2024, so to kick things off, we're going to be taking a look at Admiral Jean-Luc Picard by EXO-6 from Star Trek Picard Season 3. So if you've watched any of my videos where EXO-6 comes up, you know that I loved Picard Season 3. I personally thought it was one of the best Star Trek shows we've gotten to date, and honestly one of the best sci-fi shows that I've watched recently. Maybe part of it was nostalgia, but a big part of it too was just how good the story was, right? And all the other aspects, from the performances, and even things like the musical score easily become one of the best things that I've heard in recent memory. So without a doubt, when EXO-6 announced that they'd be giving us figures from the series and this particular season, I had to jump in. Again, I tend to collect based on IP, and when I like something, I want that representation in my collection. So Admiral Picard was a no-brainer, and he is only the first figure being released. We've already seen prototypes for Worf, Vadic, Captain Shaw, and teases of a potential Captain 7. So I would not be surprised if EXO-6 goes deep into the line, given the popularity of the characters and of the show itself. And one thing I have to mention about their prototypes, they look phenomenal. These and the Strange New World figures just seem to have elevated things to a new level, so we'll see if this is something that EXO-6 can really continue to keep on and deliver on. Now, as for Admiral Picard, it's Jean-Luc Picard, so I think even people with a passing familiarity with Trek will know who he's supposed to be, but for me it's about the evolution of the character. So we're eventually going to get a TNG Picard, and I have the Locutus, so it'll be great to have that evolution of the character in the collection. So let's take a quick look at what we're getting from EXO-6 here, and you'll see this is a very simple figure and package. The accessories are sparse, although decent pieces, but besides the phaser and the bottle of wine, you're just getting some standard hands and the typical EXO-6 base. And you do get a small gift that EXO-6 threw into the package, which is honestly a nice add, but overall, very simple setup and package here. So let's get into the accessories a little more in depth, and as we normally do, we'll start with the hands. And these are impressive. Paint app here is just amazing, creating this illusion of age spots, right? Which, given where Picard is in his life, it's very adequate for this older character. And it's just really impressive, even down to the sculpt work, because it's all solidly done. You get the different skin folds and some vein work on the top. They do look like aged hands, so I'm just impressive with what EXO-6 was able to do here. You know, it's hard to get these wrong, but if you get it wrong, it's bad, so I'm glad that they were able to deliver on this. Now, next up, you get the phaser, which is a totally new design from the versions we saw in the older shows, and what we've been seeing on Strange New Worlds, right? I like it. It's much more of a modern-day design, and I like that. I think it actually looks like a weapon as opposed to the old-style phasers, but that's just me. It looks very sleek, and the paint apps are awesome with a nice speckled dark silver and some very discreet line work on the top of the phaser and on the open port at the end. I also like the design of the handle with the finger guards. Overall, just a very, very sleek design with some great detail work on it. Next and last accessory is the bottle of Chateau Picard from Admiral Picard's Vineyard. It's a good choice for the figure, but not one that I'll necessarily have displayed with the figure holding it, because I'd rather have more of an action pose with him. I'll definitely want to showcase it, but just not with the figure in place. Again, lots of positives here. Sorry, I like the work EXO-6 did with the label. It's not coming through on the image, or I don't know that it's coming out great, but the label actually has some raised text for the name of the brand, as well as some great detail work, all raised font on the sticker. So it just looks phenomenal. And also the top of the bottle of wine, you can see the hint of wax on the top that was used to seal it. So there's a lot of nice detail work on a simple accessory. And then final inclusion in the set, which I'm not considering an accessory but just a bit of a gift, is this die-cast pin that's meant to resemble Admiral Picard's comm badge. Nice addition, and it's a decent replica. It's an extra, so I'm not going to judge the figure or the set based on this, but it's just something I might incorporate into the display because it is a nice piece to get. So let's move on to the figure itself, and we're going to start with the sculpt. And what can I say? I'm impressed. And this isn't me trying to pretend it's better than it is. It's just really an amazing sculpt. This is part of what gets me annoyed with EXO-6, because I look at this and then I look at what they did on the Voyager figures, and it's a question of why we couldn't get this level of quality with those pieces. So first off, like, this is great. It's very much an older looking Picard, and to boot, the paint apps look incredible. Just like with the hands, you have the age spots and the texturing on the face with the color variations. You also have the sculpt, which captures all the wrinkles and even the thinner hair on the eyebrows and on the back of his head. Just really amazingly done here. Really one of the best sculpts I've seen from EXO-6. The only issue I have with it, and it's a shame, are the eyes. They're okay, but the paint app lacks the detail we get from some other companies, and it looks a little flat. But that's the only issue with the sculpt, and it's something that's been a constant with EXO-6, and hopefully something they can improve on, because with this particular figure and the sculpt, having the eyes done in a little bit better paint app would have just taken this to another level. Even so, it's still a testament to the strength of the sculpt here that it doesn't detract at all from the overall look. Now, the rest of the figure is, just to reiterate, very simple. So the big standout here is the jacket. It's a nice navy with some awesome detail work with the pattern print, and then it has the black stripe from the shoulders down the arms. Very, very simple, but really well done. And of course, the Admiral comm badge is a molded piece that looks great and adds a nice pop of color to the figure itself. The undershirt has some ribbing on it to give it some nice texture and nice detail work at the interface at the neck. So it's simple but done well, and it looks classy. Pants, nothing to really discuss here. That stands out. They're just a pair of black pants, and they fit well on the figure. And then it all culminates in his boots, which have a nicely detailed gray sole that just seems more modern and more military in nature as opposed to what we saw in the older shows. So overall basic but cool looking. Only negative I have, to be honest, are the ankles. The way the boots are done, they hinder pivoting of the ankle joint, and it can sometimes be difficult to get the figure to stand in the right way because the foot just doesn't land properly. So finding getting the figure balanced properly was a little bit of an issue, but other than that, no major complaints at all with this piece. Rest of the articulation is great with some decent ab crunch and double jointed elbows, although I do think those jointed elbows do create some creases on the jacket, so it'll be interesting to see it from a longevity point of view. Having said that, and this is something I've said before and I'll continue to say, when figures are simple or based on simple appearances, it's easy to take the work done by a company for granted. We assume companies are going to nail simple figures 100% of the time. But when they get something wrong, be it the sculpt, the body, the boots, the fit of the clothes, it becomes so much more obvious when it's a simple piece, because there's not much to hide behind, and it can destroy the figure overall. So kudos to EXO-6 for nailing this guy, because he looks incredible. This figure gives me a lot of hope for the line, because there are so many pieces here I want to pick up, and I think if EXO-6 can maintain this quality for all its future releases, Picard Season 3 could be one of their most impressive and standout lines, and something that we as Star Trek fans or 6-scale collectors would have no issues having in our displays. So honestly, a quick review just because there's not much to go over, but feels like a great way to kick off the year, and it gives me hope about the rest of the line and also about EXO-6 in general. So that was a quick look at Admiral Jean-Luc Picard based on his appearance in Picard Season 3. A great release by EXO-6 and just a solid figure overall. Let me know your thoughts on this release or the show, and as always, thank you for watching, and if you are enjoying the content, please consider dropping a like, comment, or subscribing, and we'll touch base on the next video.